Coming up on Evening Edition, Southern Illinois faces flash flooding, plus 2 trains derail in the region, and lawmakers in Illinois are one step closer to raising the minimum wage. Live from Southern Illinois University, you're watching River Region Evening Edition.
Damaging winds and rain hit most of the river region this morning. Good evening, I'm Samantha Soto.
And I'm Jacob Gordon. We have many reports tonight of the damage across the river region, but we start with a train derailment in Dexter, Missouri. The storms this morning knocked over a train and 13 cars. According to the Stoward County Police, the train derailed near Busy Bee Lumber and caused damage to the building. There was no hazardous substances leaking, but one train car was carrying battery acid. No one was injured.
And a train hauling coal derailed in Sparta around 8 this morning. According to the Sparta Police Department, 2 engines and 16 cars filled with coal came off the tracks and ended up on their sides. No one was hurt, and the cause of the derailment is still unknown. And severe weather reportedly knocked over trailers in a business in Ziegler, Illinois. According to management at Larry's Trailer Sales, there is damage to half a dozen trailers and 2 are flipped over. Some trailers are considered to be totaled. There are no injuries reported.
And most of the region was included in a thunderstorm and flash flood warning earlier today. The National Weather Service declared a river flood warning until midnight tonight. The Weather Service also issued a hazardous weather outlook for portions of southern Illinois, southwest Indiana, western Kentucky, and southeast Missouri. Illinois Department of Transportation's Keith Miley has tips for students who are commuting in the weather.
Whatever you do, don't drive through an area where you have water over the road completely, because it doesn't take a whole lot of moving water to push a car off the road. It's not a good day to be in a hurry, and take it slow.
Now, Miley said to be careful of debris on the roadways and to avoid hydroplaning.
Well, Jacob, I don't know about you, but I certainly was woken up by those storms this morning.
I was too. Madeline Parker is here now with a first look at weather. So, Madeline, are we expected to see any more severe weather? All right, Madeline, thanks. The Carbondale Police is asking for your help when a case of retail theft. The female entered the store on Main Street and stole multiple bottles of cologne and perfume on January 28th before leaving a male in a silver Chevy. The same female suspect is believed to be stolen from multiple Walgreens in the area. Anyone with information is asked to call the Carbondale Police Department or Crime Stoppers. And a suspect in an early morning shooting in rural West Frankfort has been arrested. 31-year-old Kyle Houch has been charged with aggravated battery, a Class X felony, and is currently being held in the Franklin County Jail without bond. The victim of the shooting, who is not being identified at this time, is out of surgery and is recovering in a local hospital.
The Franklin County Sheriff's Office received a grant from the Law Enforcement Charitable Foundation today. Franklin County Sheriff's Office was able to use this financial support to purchase a bite suit to help the training of their canine, Diego. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office says they are thankful for the support of the Law Enforcement Charitable Foundation and the work they do with local law enforcement and the communities they serve. And the McCracken County Sheriff's Department made an arrest in the investigation of a home invasion. Deputies say they investigated the theft of an iPhone, smart tablet, and firearms stolen from a home on Clinton Road. 19-year-old Gabriel McGill of Paducah was found at a local hotel, interviewed, and later taken into custody with charges including tampering of evidence.
Today, the Illinois Senate okayed Maywood Democrat leader Kimberly Light for its 6-year plan to increase the minimum wage to $15. Governor J.B. Pritzker hailed the state Senate's approval.
I'm pleased that the interests of communities across this state were represented in this bill. Workers in East St. Louis and Peoria doing the same job deserve to be paid the same wage as workers in Chicago.
Now, Pritzker told Democrats who controlled the General Assembly he wants to sign an increase into law before he proposes his first annual budget on February 20th. The Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum will offer free admission and special events to celebrate Lincoln's birthday. Museum officials say admission will be free on February 12th, which would have been Lincoln's 210th birthday. Historic interpreters portraying the nation's 16th president and his wife will visit the museum as guests. There will also be experts on Lincoln who will discuss his legacy.
And SIU's Multicultural Center is celebrating Black History Month with a handful of special events.
Evening Edition's Ryan Davis has more on the events made for the entire community.
I love American history. And to really understand American history, you have to understand Black history.
It's February once again, and that means Black History Month has returned to SIU. Students and faculty of all races attended the kickoff event Monday to celebrate the start of the month. But for many of the African American students, the celebration means a little more.
It means exploiting the advancements of African Americans. I think it's important that SIU is doing this for the students, because being at a PWI, we don't always feel like our voices are heard, and now we know like our school is planning all of these events to make us more aware.
With this year's theme focusing on migration, the Multicultural Resource Center has planned over 20 events, including discussion panels, guest speakers, performing arts, and more.
We have people on campus that's being utilized. We have people off campus being utilized. We have been dealing with literature, we're dealing with film, we're dealing with art, we're dealing with, you got the African students involved. So it's one of those things where so many different parties who are contributing, considering the fact that a lot of institutions don't have it. So it makes this institution shine.
The MRC hopes for the month to not be just important for African American students, but for all of Carbondale.
The university community, we need the Carbondale community and the neighboring communities to come out and just really get some of this information and spend some of this time talking to each other, because we're not going to get nowhere if we don't participate in these programs.
And ahead on Evening Edition, a congressional hearing on gun violence gets heated.
Plus, another migrant caravan and more families separated at the border. You're watching Evening Edition at 5. Border security is top of mind for both President Trump and Congress.
This comes as lawmakers held a hearing today on family separations at the border. And another migrant caravan made its way to Texas port of entry. Mary Maloney has more from Washington.
Troops stand guard as a massive migrant caravan arrives at the U.S.-Mexico border.
We've come in search of something better for our family.
Nearly 2,000 people want to seek asylum and enter the United States through Eagle Pass, Texas. But U.S. Customs and Border Patrol says it can only process 16 to 20 people per day.
At this point, the system is at a total capacity.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott sent about 500 state troopers to the border, and the Pentagon moved about 250 military members to the Eagle Pass area. Border security is a sticking point for Congress and the president. A funding deal needs to be reached by next Friday before part of the government shuts down again.
We need border security. We have to have it. It's not an option. Let's see what happens.
Lawmakers are also looking into the Trump administration's zero-tolerance illegal immigration policy, which forced thousands of migrant children from their families at the border.
I do not believe that separation of children from their parents is in the best interest of the child.
Last year, the government said more than 2,700 children were taken from their parents at the border. But this year, a Health and Human Services Inspector General report found that number was wrong, and thousands more families were actually separated.
To be clear, what happened to these children should never happen in this country.
In Washington, I'm Mary Maloney.
Former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz pushed forward with his case for a potential independent run for the White House. Schultz spoke to students at Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana today. He went after what he calls a potential class or politicians affiliated with one or two main parties. Schultz said Americans should have a candidate not affiliated with Republicans or Democrats.
Now, there are critics who condemn me for even thinking about running outside of the two-party system for fear it would lead to President Trump's reelection.
Now, Schultz also criticized both major parties on the host of issues, including immigration, taxes, and balancing the budget.
Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz clashed with two fathers whose children were killed in last year's Parkland massacre during a congressional hearing Wednesday. A congressional hearing on gun violence boiling over after Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz suggested that illegal immigration poses a greater threat to the public than guns. The Florida congressman's claim prompting outrage from the fathers of two victims of last year's massacre at Parkland, Florida High School.
Beyond terrible in what he was saying. We were sitting in a room full of parents of children murdered at Parkland High School.
Gaetz told the Sun-Sentinel that he did not know the fathers had lost children in the Parkland shooting, but would react the same way if he did. And a House panel voted today to approve a subpoena for Attorney General Matt Whitaker ahead of his Friday testimony, but it isn't sure if he will testify. Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler said he would use the subpoena only if Whitaker avoided answering questions from the committee about not recusing himself from the Russian probe. After the vote, it was announced that Whitaker would not appear Friday in front of the committee unless he receives a written assurance that he will not be served with a subpoena.
SunTrust and BB&T announced today that will merge in a $66 billion deal. Once the merge is accepted by regulators, the merged banks will become the sixth largest bank in the United States. The current name of the two banks is unknown, but will have headquarters located in Charlotte, North Carolina, and other operations in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and as well as Atlanta. The merge will be the first major banking sector deal since 2008. And a new study suggests that e-cigarettes packed with nicotine are a gateway to addiction for the youth. Juul has indirectly started a nicotine arms race across the vaping industry with its 5% nicotine pods. Stafford professor Dr. Robert Jackley published a study in the BMJ Journal and what he has uncovered after studying for the industry for a decade. Jackler is worried that the vaping companies are trying to pack more nicotine into their products.
After a rainy day across the river region, when is the sunshine going to return? Madeline has your forecast next.
But first on Wall Street, stocks ended the day with negative results. The Nightly Business Report has more coming up next at 5:30.
River Region Evening Edition. Sorry about those technical difficulties earlier, but right now we have a viewer photo sent in by Holly Peipenberg right outside of the communications building right here on SIU's campus. If you have a viewer photo you would like to send in, please send it to our Facebook or Twitter at River Region News. As you can see in this photo, it is very cloudy outside, and we are finally done with that rain we were seeing all morning, because right now it is 36 degrees with some cloudy skies, as you can see right here. Dew point is at 32 degrees, and we have 79% humidity, so as we can see throughout the day, that humidity has been dropping drastically. So if you look at our almanac, we can see that our high today was 67 and about our low is 15 degrees. So it is a very drastic difference. Our average is about 45 degrees. But if we can look at our regional temperatures, we can see that Carbondale is at 36 and so is Marion with cloudy skies. Waterloo is at partly cloudy skies, so it has a little bit of that sun with 25 degrees. Evansville is at 39 degrees with rain, and so is it Paducah with rain, but they are at 45 degrees. Cape Girardeau is at 38 degrees with cloudy skies. But if we look at our national temperatures, we can see that we are in a little bit of a cooling spot. We are in a little bit of warm right here, but we can see that cool is going to start coming in later in the week. We can see that St. Louis and Chicago especially are in the 40-degree temperature range, while we were in about the 60-degree temperature range, but that is starting to change. As we can see from our surface map, this is what it's going to be like tomorrow. We do have a high pressure system that has pushed all of that rain and flash flooding out of our area, but we will be seeing some sunny skies over the next couple of days, but our temperatures are also going to drop, and that will be starting tonight with 15 degrees for the low, partly cloudy skies, and it's also going to get pretty windy out there. We're going to have 27-mile-per-hour wind gusts. They'll be starting at 16 miles per hour. And tomorrow morning, we're going to have 15-mile-per-hour winds with sunny skies and 17 degrees. So it is going to be below freezing and very cold. Don't let that sun fool you. It is going to be pretty chilly tomorrow, so make sure you're wearing a coat. And it's only going to get up to about 27 degrees. Still have that sun, but again, those 27-mile-per-hour wind gusts will still be sticking around. But if we look at tomorrow night, we'll be going even lower in the temperature, down to 16 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Still have those wind gusts, but we'll be having the sunset at 5:28 p.m. Now, if we look at our 5-day outlook, we can see that the temperatures are going to start getting a little bit colder. We won't be seeing any more 60-degree temperatures, but we will be seeing that it'll be going up to 37 degrees on Sunday, but we might have some rain and ice in the morning, and we might even be seeing some rain on Monday. But we will be going up to 40 degrees, and by Tuesday, we'll be going back up to 49 degrees with some clouds and some sun.
Definitely not looking forward to any more of that rain. Thanks, Madeline.
Thanks. And now here's David Alvarado with a preview of what's coming up next in sports. David?
Saluki softball starts their season tomorrow in Louisiana. But first, were the Salukis able to win their 3rd game in a row? Find out after the break right here at River Region Evening Edition. The Salukis men's basketball team traveled to Springfield, Missouri, looking to extend their winning streak to 3 yesterday against Missouri State. Both teams went into the game with a 5-5 record in conference play, but a 9-game losing streak against the Salukis seemed to be the chip in the Bears' shoulder that gave way to their tenacious play. Led by Kavion Pippen, SIU mounted a considerable comeback in the second half, but despite this, still fell short to the Bears, 59-65. Coach Hinson saw a few points of improvement for the Salukis.
We didn't guard down the stretch. They ended up shooting 47% from the field. You have to rebound. We did do that. We rebounded, but we didn't rebound in the first half. You can't turn it over. We didn't turn it over tonight. We did a pretty good deal on there, but you got to make free throws, and we didn't make free throws. And you take 8 free throws, that's a big hit.
The women's basketball team will be hosting conference leader Missouri State at the SIU Arena tomorrow. This is a tough challenge for the Salukis, who will try to snap their 2-game losing streak as well as the 12-game winning streak of the Bears. Missouri State hasn't lost a single game in conference against a conference rival yet. The last time the two teams met, Missouri State actually won 66-51. However, SIU is 8-1 at home this year, losing only to the Sycamores of Indiana State. And the Salukis have won their last 5 games against the Bears, all at home, so this might be a good time to actually win. The Saluki track and field team will be heading to Birmingham, Alabama for the Bulldog Invitational tomorrow. The total of 12 women's and 11 men's teams will be competing in this one-day meet that is essentially the final tune-up for the indoor season for Coach Joseph's squad that has been showing great promise all season. SIU is prominently featured in the national rankings as both the men's and the women's weight throwers and shot putters are in their respective top 10s. Softball season is upon us, and the Salukis start the 2019 season tomorrow in Louisiana at the Lion Classic. Over the course of the next 3 days, SIU will be playing 5 games against Nichols, San Jose State, Mississippi Valley State, and the host, Southeastern Louisiana. The Salukis are coming off the 3rd straight season with 30-plus wins, have last year's MVC Defensive Player of the Year in Maddie Vermejan, and are picked 2nd in the league by MVC League coaches. Coming off the heels of the 2019 recruiting class, SIU has released their schedule for the 2019 season. Before starting conference play, the Salukis will be traveling to SEMO, UMass, and Arkansas while hosting UT Martin on Family Weekend. Homecoming will be against Youngstown State. Military appreciation game will be against North Dakota State, and the times will still be determined. So I'm very much looking forward to that football season, guys. It's been a long time since we've been able to enjoy a good game of football, I'd say.
Yes, hopefully we get a few more wins this season.
Hopefully, you never know. But I guess Coach Hill will definitely have a few tricks up his sleeve.
Exactly. All right, thanks, David.
You got it.
Madeline has a final check of the forecast next.
But first, as we head to break, be sure to follow us on social media at River Region News and check out our website for more local content. We'll be right back. Well, finally tonight, SIU has a very diverse population of students. Each of them have their own stories.
Evening Edition reporter Phoenix Hoon Simmons has this week's Saluki story.
Mira Gutierrez Meza grew up in Logan Park in Chicago and in Mexico. She says that by 3rd grade she learned to speak English, which affected the Spanish she knew.
I unlearned all of the Spanish that I knew. Not unlearned necessarily, but I kind of missed out on all that Spanish.
When Mira got to high school, she said she was awkward.
I didn't have many friends. I had maybe 3 friends, if that. I was always in the library. Always. I didn't even go to lunch because I was always in the library.
Many students apply to colleges, then pick the ones that catch their eye, but not for Mira. She says that because of a mix-up with names at her school, she ended up at SIU.
Because a lot of our acceptance and letters of whether or not you got in went through our high school. They mixed up our paperwork, and she got into Columbia, and I got into SIU.
Even though SIU wasn't the school she intended to go to, she describes it as
surprisingly good. Because from an outsider's perspective, it just looks like a small town, college town. And I personally, I'm from Chicago, but I like it a lot better, small town areas.
Mira continues her studies in Spanish and Latin America in hopes to reconnect to her roots. I'm Phoenix Simmons, and that was a Saluki Story.
There. And Madeline, how about the weather for the rest of the weekend?
Well, we are going to be getting some sun this weekend, but we are going to be seeing temperatures going down to about 27 and 36 degrees. We are going to be getting some rain on Sunday and Monday, and maybe even a little bit of ice on Sunday, so watch out for that. But by Tuesday, it'll be warming up to about 49 degrees with some clouds in the morning and some sun in the afternoon. So we're going to get a little bit of a break from this rain, but it's going to get cold again.
Welcome to the Southern Illinois roller coaster.
Yeah, we can have all the seasons in 1 week.
Exactly. All right, thanks, Madeline.
Thank you for joining us tonight. The Nightly Business Report is next. I'm Samantha Soto.
And I'm Jacob Gordon. For Madeline Parker, David Alvarado, and all the students who work on Evening Edition, have a good night.